People of Reddit, which was the biggest fuck you finale to a TV show or movie you've ever encountered that made you mad? Probably going to be far down the list, but for me, it was Stargate Atlantis. The show wasn't renewed, and it ends on a cliffhanger and I'll never find out what happens. At least Firefly got the movie. Edit, I meant universe. BBC's Robin Hood. If you want to keep the show alive, maybe think twice about killing off your main character. Pretty Little Liars. What on earth was the evil twin gag? It didn't fit at all. Honestly, the show should have ended many seasons prior. Dexter was pretty bad, although I could appreciate what they were trying to do. Rosine. I didn't care about that show much, but the fact that the whole last season was actually a story written by Rosine to cope with the death of her husband, who actually died in the last season after an accident that he seemingly recovered from at the time. It was impressive, sad, but also a huge kick in the nuts. Grey's Anatomy, and not a season or show finale, but a character finale. Alex Karev. If you haven't seen / don't want to know, spoilers. Alex Karev was introduced in the second episode of the first season as an arrogant asshole, bad boy womanizer, and slowly progresses over several seasons to be a lovable character. We learn he has a troubled childhood, and he learns empathy for others. He becomes a great friend and support for all of his coworkers, developing very strong professional and personal connections with patients, peers, and mentors. Everything is about loyalty and family for him, and you can always depend on him. In his final season, the actor wanted out. After like 15 years, he disappears for half the season, visiting family out of state, and never appears again. He met up with an old flame, who had his babies from fertilized embryos, and wrote a letter to his best friend, his mentor, and to his wife. His character reading out the letters is how learn all of this, that he abandoned his wife, who had a harder life than him. He helped her escape abuse, and he promised she could always count on him. It was an absolute betrayal of the character who had developed to a strong man we all know and loved. Of course, there was also McDreamy being the best neurosurgeon in the world and dying in an avoidable car accident because they didn't look for brain damage, and my sweet baby George, who was hit by a bus and dragged down the road to be unrecognizable and being treated by his friends who didn't know it was him only for him to die as soon as they find out. Fuck you, Shonda Rhimes. I'm done. Most of these answers are about a fuck you finale from the creators, but the best one might be a fuck you to the creators. Chris Haddock has been a figure of some note in TV for quite a while now, most notably for Da Vinci's Inquest, a long-running show based in Vancouver that David Simon has cited as a huge influence on The Wire, both as a drama and in its approach to Baltimore. After the end of Da Vinci, Haddock put out another series called Intelligence that was even better, but the CBC didn't agree, so they fucked with the marketing and tried to bury it. The show still did well, so on to season 2, even more gripping, but now the show is increasingly about American attacks on Canadian sovereignty, and there's a new Canadian government that liked that even less. So after the end of the second season, which was a major cliffhanger, the CBC cancelled the show and destroyed the sets and props, so Haddock couldn't continue it elsewhere. They also successfully blackballed many of the series leads. The female lead hasn't done anything in years, and one of the recurring characters ended up being interviewed while working at The Gap. Even Ian Tracy, who was something of a star at that point, has been much lower profile since. Edit. Because a few people have asked, both seasons of Intelligence are up on Amazon.com and Cap, included with Prime, and the quality is stellar. U/Bridgierl reports that it is on UK Netflix as well. What is missing, however, is the 90-minute pilot movie, also called Intelligence. That's a shame, because it does a great job of setting up the series, and it's a fantastic movie in its own right. U/Fusions of Wonder says a 90-minute pilot movie is on US Netflix. Da Vinci's Inquest doesn't seem to be available, but check your usual interweb tubes and you may find something.